All right, all right, all right. Peace, love, and piece of cake. Happy Thursday, everybody. It is December the 1st, and it is Piece of Cake Thursdays. So, as you all start to come in, or if it's like it has been some of the other nights, we have had low participation, but nonetheless, hold on, light was kind of blinding me. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, I'm starting to realize like these piece of cake conversations are nothing but what I've always done, which is converse with myself. And I want you all to join in with me, but even if you don't, I'm saying the things that I needed to hear anyway. So hopefully some people will join in and join in the conversation. Over time, I know that we'll start getting a little bit more traction. So what I'm going to do right now, as we're waiting for people to join in, I'm going to share this on my page. I ask you all to do the same. Even if you're not watching in real time, so hello to those of you who might watch at a later time and date. I ask that you also share if there's anything that I say that is beneficial. All right. So let's just. I should have had some music or something to play while we were waiting. But let's just see what we got going on here in the Facebook world. So how is your day going? Is there anything in particular that you all want to talk about in regards to the topic? The topic for tonight is, oh, you mad? um your life changes when you're mad, and the end acronym mad is make a decision. So when you're mad, when you make a decision, then your life changes. Don't know what that sound was, but okay, okay. All right, so let's go to these pages. And I have had some technical difficulties. My phone screen is broke, so I wasn't able to put out some of the things that I wanted to put out in terms of Black Friday specials and Cyber Monday. But at the end of the day, I also ended up realizing that just because it's a trend and everybody else is doing it, that doesn't mean that it's something that you have to do. When I really started to review my prices and thinking about the goals that I want to meet in terms of services, the quality of services that I want to be able to provide next year, I just started realizing, you know what, I don't think it's feasible for me to give any better sales than what I already had. And for those of you who are tuning in who probably are like, girl, what do you do? So I am Amina McLeod, a lot of different aliases. Some people know me as Natalia, some people know me as Cupcake, some people know me as Miss Cupcake. I am the founder of Piece of Cake Enterprises. We are a company that has three main focal points, which are entertainment, education, and empowerment. So you will probably see me somewhere out and about in the community, interacting with families and children, or speaking with a group just in a way to help encourage and facilitate learning in a fun way. In a fun way. All right, give us just a second. All right, I am still getting used to doing this blogging and vlogging and these type of things. But anybody who knows me knows that I have been a outspoken person for a while. And I've had friends to always encourage me and say, like, you should do like some type of little show, or this is this. And how Piece of Cake Conversations got started. And I feel like sometimes it's going to be necessary for me to keep reviewing kind of like, where did this come from? How it got started is I would have these conversations with my niece in the car, and a lot of times I'll end up realizing like, wow, there are so many things that needs to be discussed that people sometimes don't even have anybody to talk to, in particularly youth oftentimes don't have anyone that they feel that they can confide in, that they can ask questions of without being penalized or judged harshly or made to think, that, oh, you even thinking about that is wrong. So that's why I decided to do Piece of Cake Conversations, and I already had the business name Piece of Cake, meaning making things easy. I like to think of it as sweet and easy. And I figured, well, if we're gonna just have conversations, we want them to be sweet and easy too. So then came Piece of Cake Conversations. It's something that's very new, and I'm hoping that it will continue to grow and get off the ground, because I kid you not, I really feel like as of lately, I have this driving force within me that just keeps making me almost feel insane. And that is what kind of inspired the topic for tonight. I have been feeling a sense of anxiety regarding like the success of my business and things of that nature. And it finally got to a point where I was realizing like the anxiety that you're feeling is not just like anxiousness in terms of like, do you think it's that it will be a profitable business? Because in no like no way shape or form am I trying to like overly think high of myself, but when I tell you I firmly feel that God has gifted me with something in terms of my business, the vision that he's given me, so I don't even question whether or not it's going to be profitable. But I started feeling anxiety, and it was really more so me suppressing my anger with myself. Yeah. um I have been mad. I've been mad at myself because I feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Even though I have certain moments where I keep getting confirmation that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, but there have been times where I battle with this idea of anxiety and suppressed anger that comes out as anxiousness or just worration. Is that the right word? Hello to those of you who are tuning in. Thanks so much. So I'm talking about me being mad at myself, and that's what kind of prompted the subject for tonight. So, oh, you mad? Like, are you mad? Okay, well, life changes when you're mad, so make a decision. So, we're going to talk a little bit about anger tonight. I got a couple of questions, and just in regard of like, how does your anger manifest? What does you being mad look like? And is there such thing as healthy anger? A lot of people oftentimes think that being mad or angry is just a bad thing because it is a quote unquote negative emotion. And I know a lot of people like to ride this positive vibes only wave, but at the end of the day, us experiencing one set emotion for prolonged periods of time is not healthy. We are humans. God has, per my beliefs, so I'll say the creator, because at the end of the day, nobody can deny that we have been created. We did not create ourselves. So the creator has made us in a way where we have a wide variety and range of emotions. And if you're ever to a point where you're only living within a very limited spectrum of those emotions, then when you finally get out of that one emotion, you may begin to experience an extreme opposite of whatever it was that you're feeling. So for instance, there are people who may be very mellow, right? And they're very indifferent, and they tend to not have any like feelings one way or the other. And if they ever get out of that middle of the road, very just bland, just straight to it type of emotion, then whatever it is that they feel, whether it be happiness, whether it be sadness, whether it is anger, it might come and manifest in a way where it seems very extreme because they are not used to dealing and existing in those emotions, because they're normally in this one set way. So I encourage everybody to start to find opportunities to get acquainted with yourself. Self-awareness is so important. So get acquainted with yourself and find out what your emotions look like. Figure out what emotions are there, period. Because a lot of times, sometimes we mislabel, we misunderstand, and we mislabel our emotions. Sometimes you're not actually mad. Sometimes you might just be disappointed. And because you're not used to handling disappointment, it drives you to a rage because you don't know what to do with it. So we're talking tonight about basically constructive anger. So I want to hear from you all. Like I said, I had a couple of people tune in. I'm waiting for some more people to come back, but in the meantime, in between time, let's go. So I was talking, sharing about my own journey of me being upset. So I have a business plan. Um, and the model is kind of like it's unconventional. I don't know a lot of people that are doing what I do the way that I want to do it, right? And with that being said, it kind of makes me a little upset at times because something within me, I have entitlement. I'm not even gonna lie about it. So something within me is kind of at times feeling like I should be able to go to I'm laughing at myself now because I'm realizing how ridiculous this entitlement is. But something within me at times, it comes up and it's like, oh, I should be able to go to somebody and get help with what it is that I want to do. And then I'm just kind of like also feeling like a victim at times because it's like, I should have had this, I should have had that. So a lot of times we'll have this hello, hi, I can't even see who has tuned in, but I just want to say peace and blessings, peace, love, and peace of Kate. Thank you for tuning in. So we're talking about constructive anger, and I'm sharing a little bit of my story. Would love to see some comments from you all about what your anger looks like, and if there has been a time where you've been able to use your anger to manifest you making a decision and achieving like a goal or something. Please share that. But at times I find myself getting a little discouraged because like I have this sense of entitlement. So I had to become self-aware enough to understand that there's something within me that feels like, oh, I don't have XYZ. And I've listened to other people's stories and they've had a mentor and they've had, a family advantage of coming from wealth and they've been able to start their business and this is this and da da da, or the impact that they want to make in the community. They're popular and more people actually, pays attention. And yeah, if you pay me attention on Facebook, you'll see like yesterday I was low key whining about not knowing if I was being shadow banned or not because I'm like, oh, I'm not getting the engagement that I want. I'm also not consistent at posting. Like, so sometimes you have to check yourself, right? Check yourself. And you might be mad about something, like I said, and you might perceive yourself as being mad when in actuality it can be a whole different emotion. Oftentimes I thought that I was like I said, mad about something and it was really disappointment. So before I decided to act on the anger, like the anger is the emotion, the aggression is the action, is the expression of your anger, right? I knew I wasn't angry when I didn't feel motivated to move. So this is something that you will come to realize if you start to study emotions, and emotional literacy is so important. I know that's going to be a lot of the conversations that we have over this year, upcoming year, and years to come. It's going to be dealing with social emotional literacy because a lot of people just don't understand their emotions. And because we're not taking the time to understand our emotions, then we keep acting out in ways where it doesn't even make sense. Like our actions do not fit the actual situation that we're in. So I found myself, like I said, oftentimes thinking that I was mad, but then I wasn't driven to have an action. And anger is actually the type of emotion that usually is accompanied with adrenaline. And if you're really truly mad about something, you're gonna feel ready to move. You hear me? Like you're gonna be ready to do something. Now the problem is most people's anger manifests in a way where it is destructive. So we are talking tonight about taking your anger, being able to acknowledge it, right? You have to be self-aware of not just your emotions, but emotions in general. So we're going to keep talking about emotions to help people begin to understand the wide variety of emotions that are out there, right? And then you can address this emotion first by putting a name to it. So we're going to analyze. So look, pay attention, become aware of, and then address it once you're able to address it. And then once you're able to address it, then you can better direct it, right? You can refocus and drive the energy. Because like I said, anger is an emotion that will usually come with adrenaline. So it's going to move you towards something. If you're smart, you will be able to use your anger in a way to construct and move yourself towards your overall goal. Now let's talk a little bit, like I said, for those of you tuning in, if you want to share what you being mad or angry looks like, please drop a comment below. If not, then just do it with yourself in your own time or whatever. But I want to reiterate once again, some of the typical reasons for being angry is like feeling an injustice, feeling like there's been some wrongdoing and you're the victim. Oftentimes, people being angry is the result of feelings of victimhood. And your anger is the emotion that is trying to empower you and move you towards righting the wrong that you have perceived to be done, right? But like I said, sometimes when we're not as in control of our anger, what happens is we might overcorrect. So instead of us staying in a place of victimhood, we might actually get hyper vigilant and sometimes going to overkill, and we just tear stuff down, and we move ourselves further away from the goals that we have instead of further towards it. So we have to start checking ourselves. Other typical reason for anger: if someone's threatening you, or you feel threatened by someone's actions, um or just perceived threats, or hearing, you receiving threatening words or anything like that, any other attacks, like if you notice something that looks threatening, like launching, coming towards you, it's going to make you angry, especially if you have a sense of awareness to see that this person is actually trying to attack you. It's one thing, sometimes we can get angry about stuff happening that is an accident, and I noticed that a lot of times with children. So this is why, as a parent, this is the parenting tip: we have to be very careful when we're monitoring our children, and we see that another child has accidentally done things, and it, as a result, has like caused the other child to be hit. We have to do a better job of teaching the other child to be understanding of whether or not this person intended to hurt you and attack you versus it was an accident. Because what happens is, if children are not made aware the difference between them actually being under attack and then just kind of like accidentally hit, then they can get to a point where they, like I said, overreact, and then the problem escalates unnecessarily, especially when it's an accident, right? So these are things that we want to pay attention to as parents and get a handle on, so that we can help our children learn how to properly assess a situation and understand whether or not these things are intentional, so that they don't use their anger in the wrong way. Now, if you're actually being attacked and there is an actual threat, your anger is going to help you to have this sense of invincibility, right? So that you can fight or flight. Normally, anger is going to cause you to fight, right? So that you can protect yourself and overcome whatever was trying to overcome you. So anger is not a bad emotion. It just needs to be used in the right and proper way. Other reasons for people being angry or feeling anger is them having belittlement, like someone speaking in a way and just talking down to them. That will make a person angry. No one wants to hear crazy and like disrespectful language focused at them, spoken to them. um you would have to already have a very low sense of self-esteem, or an extremely high sense of self and self-control, to hear something negative constantly said to you or about you, and you not get to a place of anger. So that's another typical reason for people experiencing anger, right? If you are working towards something and someone continuously interrupts you, that, for me, that's a trigger. I get easily angered if someone is interrupting me while I'm doing something. I think Beyonce said that, she was like, "Stop interrupting my grinding." Like, and I was like, "Yes, girl, I feel you." Because why? Why is you blowing up my phone? I'm trying to get stuff done. I don't like people telling me or making requests while I'm already in the middle of doing what it is that you asked me to do the first time. You see me doing this, like, I even have to check myself. I have to check myself, Lord, because my daughter has a habit of asking me for something. "Mommy, I want juice," whatever the case may be, and I'll get ready to go get the juice. Like, she'll see me walking towards the refrigerator, and then "I want juice," and I'm like, "Girl," and I already feel myself getting angry. And the reason is because I don't like being interrupted, and I don't like somebody telling me or asking me to do the thing that I'm already in the process of doing, because it's almost as if you're trying to make me move faster, and you're not about to make me move faster. If anything, you're making me mad, and now I'm going to move slower. So, like, yeah, people don't like being interrupted. Like, people don't like being interrupted in the middle of speaking, in the middle of, them doing an action or whatever the case may be. You want to make somebody mad, interrupt them. Like, hold up their progress. Oh God, that's a major trigger for me. And then other things that contribute to anger is just general stress. Regular day-to-day life is taxing, y'all. And if you ever take a moment to just stop and think a little bit about some, like I said, a lot of the injustices that are being done to other people, or even how we mistreat this earth. Yeah, I'm one of them weird people who, like, I think a lot. So when I hear stories of them talking about the SpaceX program, and they just launched this, and they got XYZ on the moon so that they can have communications, and this, and I'm like, y'all, we done effed up the world bad enough, and y'all think that you deserve to go F up the moon? Mm-mm. God gave life on earth for a reason. Like I said, and I say God, I'm not sure what you call him, but yeah. And I don't just call him God, I also say Allah. But this is not for religious anything. I'm also gonna be who I am. Okay. So those are some typical reasons for people being angry. Like them feeling the emotion of anger. Now, anger, like I said, is the emotion. Aggression is the expression. So I had to like get that in my head, because a lot of times people feel something that they don't always act on. But if you feel the emotion of anger and you act upon it, then it usually comes out in the form of aggression. So let's go over that really, really quickly. Some common expressions of anger, aka aggression, usually looks like um verbal. People verbally have an outburst to express their anger. That might be threats, them talking crazy, cursing, saying whatever they want to say, name calling, whatever that may be. Some people are violent physically when they're angry. So that might look like them, punching a wall, throwing things. Hey, you're not too late. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had people popping in and out. So we're talking about anger, in particularly constructive anger. So just highlighting, I was talking about sharing my own journey as an entrepreneur. I oftentimes sometimes feel like I'm mad. And a lot of times it's disappointment. But then I have moments where I realize, like, oh, you really mad. And I realize I'm really mad at myself because I have not put myself in a position to have the things that I want. And so now I'm learning, instead of just being mad and having this emotion and then trying to suppress it, because as a Black woman, I have tried so hard not to be the mad Black woman, right? To the point where, and this is one of the talking points, to the point that me suppressing my anger has led to depression, has led to me also having compartmentalization, because when I can't hold my anger in, then I might be driven to do specific action, and then I like basically blank. So then I don't fully remember the action that I did. And it hasn't been too bad because I do a really good job of suppressing it, which is really bad. Because anger is not a bad emotion. It's just about how you choose to use it. And anger can be constructive. So if you learn to become aware of yourself, of emotions, period, then you can properly, hold on, I have an actual note. Once you become aware, then you can allow yourself healthy avenues of how to experience anger, and then you can accept that it's okay to experience it, and then you can allow yourself the right channels and avenues of how to express it. And once you express it, you can also be comfortable with being accountable for your emotions. Like emotional regulation is not that hard. We just haven't made it normal. We haven't given ourselves the tools to be able to do these things. So when it comes to anger, or like even sadness and different things, we keep trying to suppress these things. You got people who are on this like positive vibes only. I'm a balanced vibes only type of person, and I realized that part of achieving balance is things getting out of balance, and then you get back to a place of homeostasis. So I want to know, what does your anger look like? How does it look for you to be mad? um when you're angry, what happens? Are you the type of person that suppresses it? Are you the type of person who verbally starts letting it out, and then you have to go back and apologize to the people about what you said later? Are you the type of person who, like, I gotta throw something, I want to break something, I want to punch somebody, I have to bite my tongue, whatever? When you're angry, when you're mad, what is it that you do? There are some people who don't do either of these. They try to, play it all calm, cool, and collective, and then they're just passive aggressive. So then you got all these microaggressions instead of them just letting it fully out. And then you got the other people who are, they get angry, and they feel like it's not fair for them to take their anger out on someone else. So instead of taking it out on someone else, they suppress it, and then they can't fully suppress it, and then they turn it inward towards themselves, and then they feel the need to act on it because, like I said earlier, anger is the type of emotion that is a driving force, right? It is a motivating force. So then you're going to be motivated to do something, and if you think you're mad but you've never been driven to actually do anything, then you're not really mad. So you need to figure out what you're really experiencing. It could be fake outrage, it could be programmed anger, it could be you just doing what everybody else is saying that you should be doing. So you're not really doing anything, but you feel it because that's pretty much what you've always had exhibited for you, is like just kind of verbally letting off because you've seen other people being like angry and verbally letting off. But if you're not actually moved to do something, like really truly do something with that anger, it's not really anger, because anger actually is an emotion of movement, right? So I just want you to kind of take a moment and assess yourself, like, what does your anger look like? How do you experience being angry? And then another question that is very important: how long do you allow yourself to be angry? So if you are noticing some of these questions you don't have real answers for because you might not be that aware of your anger, then I want you to start paying yourself enough of attention. And then if you're not sure how long you allow yourself to be angry, that means that you don't have a handle on your anger. Your anger has a handle on you. So there's one or two things that's happening. Either wise, you're suppressing it, so you never allow yourself to feel it. You're suppressing it, or you just you deep dive in it until it dissipates, right? And so I want us to get to a point, like I said, where we're not feeling like angry, being angry is bad, or having anger is a bad emotion, so we have to suppress it. No, allow yourself to feel it, and we're going to find healthier alternatives of how to deal with it. And the reason being is, like I said, anger is a motivating force. If used properly, it can help you to achieve your goals. It can help you to address and rectify some of the injustices that actually evoke that feeling of anger, right? So yeah, that's just that. And like I said, for the people who are like positive vibes only, keep in mind contrast is necessary. So we can't just have the good, all the good and none of the bad. We can't have rain all the time. I mean, sunlight all the time and no rain. Flip, vice versa. We can't have bad all the time and no good. So stay hopeful. All right. I talked about the whole idea of like suppressing your anger. That's called emotional avoidance. And that actually can lead to physical as well as psychological ailments. I have experienced that. Like I said, me trying to be the person who wasn't the mad black woman has literally driven me at times to being mad, like actually insane crazy. And it's not pretty. Um and it's very detrimental to yourself. Like I said, it usually manifests in some type of physical ailment. So you'll realize that sometimes you having headaches, or like for me right now, I have like this weird feeling of like tightness in my mouth. It feels like withdrawals because I'm trying to cut back on my sugar, and sugar is a whole drug. This addiction be getting me. But we have we have a craving seminar, how to overcome your cravings. Um, with Sister Amina J. Rourke, and she will be on, and I'm going to feature her on the Piece of Cake conversation page, and that will be next Tuesday. So tune in if you can. All right. So like I said, I have had battles with depression and compartmentalization, and it just eventually led to me realizing, like I said, anger is not bad, and I can't keep suppressing it. I'm not even good at suppressing it. And I got to learn how to use it. So now I am mad, but my mad is making a decision. And there is power in making a decision. So what I really want us to do, like I said, is to start using our anger as a motivating factor and practice constructive anger. So we're going to be building things up as opposed to getting mad and being like ready to tear stuff down. Now, piece of cake conversation, talking point, real quick segue into something. A lot of times we see like within the black community, and I'm only speaking about this because I'm a part of it, and I just feel like sometimes we got to start addressing things that we don't normally address because We keep waiting for somebody else to address us about it. Then we mad at them because we feel like they shouldn't be speaking on us. But at the end of the day, whatever it is that they're speaking on us is actually absolutely true. Black people, we have got to learn to channel our anger in the right way, particularly when we have situations of death in our families, death in our communities and stuff like that, especially when it comes to somebody getting killed. If we were able to start constructively dealing with our anger, and we would build up our community as opposed to getting mad and then retaliating and then, causing more deaths. Yeah, if Black Lives Matter, they got to matter all the time. They got to matter regardless to who the person was that pulled the trigger or, stabbed the person or whatever the case may be. And this is another reason why I want us to talk about constructive anger, like dealing with that anger in a constructive way, because misunderstandings should not result in death. It shouldn't. It should not. And then furthermore, when we have situations of police brutality in which Black people are being killed by the police, and then we jump up and we march in the streets, I want us to be more constructive, use our anger in a more constructive way, and we're gonna have to do something different, because these marches, there's some people who are saying, and y'all, I'm one of those people who be paying attention to the conspiracies and stuff like that. So when I start talking about it, don't, if it's not your thing, just let it fly. If it don't apply, let it fly. But there are some people who are saying in some cases that we are not the ones who are starting to go out, loot, burn buildings and all of that during these marches and protests. But if that's not working for us, if it's no longer a constructive way for us to show our disdain and display our aggression, right, our anger, then we got to find a different way, because it should not, our efforts to do something constructive should not result in destruction that's not even happening by us, but then it's getting pinned on us because it's easy to pin it on us. So we got to find some other constructive ways to deal with protesting when there are murders, particularly tied to police brutality. But I'm going to get off of that. Back to this. So like I said, oh, you mad? All right, make a decision. Life changes when you make a decision. Like, make your madness actually count for something. There's a lot of adrenaline and energy that comes with being mad and having anger. Use it in a constructive and an effective and an efficient way, right? And like I said, when you're angry, you will feel this sense of invulnerability and invincibility. So oftentimes you will be able to advocate for yourself or for others when you're upset, when you're angry. A lot of times when you are in that position to advocate, please still use sound judgment and diplomacy, because what you don't want to do is turn around and go from being the oppressed to being the oppressor, right? We have got to use our anger in the proper way. If we are addressing injustices, things that are unfair, being disrespected, the last thing we want to do is turn around and become the people that we're speaking out against, right? So I just wanted to say that. But yeah, overall, that is the gist of what we are talking about tonight. Like I said, if you end up tuning in at a later date, please, let's keep the conversation going. I would love to deep dive into this a little bit more. I'm just going to wrap up by sharing, like I said, the last bit of my story. So I've been realizing, like I said, I tried my best so long to not be the type of person who was mad or angry. That resulted in me a lot of times not being driven to action, feeling some type of way and not really ever advocating for myself and allowing myself to be mistreated or to not fully go after what it is that I said that I wanted. And eventually, over time, when you keep allowing yourself to suppress your anger, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so anger is not a bad emotion. You just want to learn how to use it in healthy ways, as it is very key in getting things done. If you haven't watched Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, definitely watch it. There's a particular scene in the movie where I realized, like, yes, that's this. You gotta have anger. You get things done when you're angry, especially if you use your anger in the right way. You're going to get the right things done, and you're going to be able to constructively use that energy And at the end of the day, your ends will justify your means, right? Somebody might be like, oh, dang, they was a little aggressive, wasn't it? But at the end of the day, it was the right level of aggression because you've learned how to, in a healthy way, channel that energy of anger and use it and not let it use you, right? Okay. And so, last but not least, like I said, wrapping it all up, as a business owner, I find myself, like I said, I find myself realizing that I am mad at me. I don't have anybody else to be mad at. You're the person who won't wake up early enough in the morning. You're the person who stay up too long on Facebook scrolling, not really networking. You're the person who is not practicing how to face pain. You're the person who's not in the gym lifting weights so that you can be stronger with these bounce houses because these things is heavy. Oh my God. You're the person who is not practicing and honing in and learning any new skills. And then you think that you're supposed to be able to just say something a handful of times and people supposed to jump on it. No, no, it doesn't work like that. So if you're going to be mad at anybody, be mad at yourself. And if you're going to be mad at yourself, you need to do something about it. And if you're going to do anything about it, what you do needs to be intentional. So before you just jump up doing any old thing just because you're mad, you need to make a decision. And that decision needs to be intentional and it needs to be based upon the outcome that you really truly desire. And you need to reverse engineer and figure out what input needs to go into it and use that energy that you felt, that anger, that drive, that adrenaline, that sense of this ain't right. You make it right by doing what you need to do and getting it done for you. Make a decision and then stick to it. I think a lot of people are mad at themselves, if anything, because we're not consistent. We want stuff from other people that we won't give to ourselves, right? And at the end of the day, if you're not going to make a decision and stand on it, woo, well, then you're just going to stay mad. You're going to stay mad. And after a while, being in a state of madness for a prolonged period of time, it's just going to lead to dis-ease, literally dis-ease, uneasiness, and then disease in your body. So do not allow yourselves to be mad. Do something with that energy. Use it in the right, proper way. I know that I am. I hope that you guys continue to join me on this journey as I continue to unmad myself. As I continue to use my anger in constructive ways to speak out against the things that I see that I feel personally are injustices, to advocate for myself and others, to utilize the voice that God gave me, to help other people learn in fun, creative ways, to have the conversations that are not always easy, but they are necessary to encourage someone. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what Piece of Cake is all about. So make a decision. Be mad. Make a decision. Use that energy in a constructive way. That is all for tonight. If you're watching at a later time, drop whatever comments you have below. Hope this is beneficial for you all. And yeah, that's it. Peace, love, and piece of cake. Oh, my phone is still broken, so I gotta turn it sideways. Okay. Yes.